Hey everyone, this is Walter, and I'm back here with more of esteemed author Russell Greer. He's also the music artist behind the song She Don't Like Nice Guys, which might be released someday. So let's just get started with Russell Greer's book, Why I Sued Taylor Swift. Man, Russell on Instagram is really a trip. He acts like the thirstiest boomer you've ever seen. He hits on cheerleaders a lot. Remember that time I Venmo'd you a gift and you didn't say thanks? Yeah, I think it's obvious that Russell would never leave her alone if she responded in any way. Here's another one of this woman, Russ in the replies. Wish you answered your DMs. What, like she's going to reply to that after ignoring your DMs? What a waste of time. Here's another photo that caught Russell's eye. Happy Valentine's. Sent you a DM. Women might usually say they'd pick the bear over Russell, but I think this one has chosen the elk over Russell instead. This is crazy. He really did spend Valentine's Day sending happy Valentines and maybe a few dollars on Venmo to Instagram girls. I guess a lot of those were on the next day too. Here's another woman who's completely out of Russ's league. Still waiting to meet you. How exactly is he going to hit on influencers with a cartoon profile picture? Gorgeous. Also, why did you change your username, haha? And then there's this. The definition of karma is seeing the mugshot of somebody who has helped spread false and/or outdated gossip about you. Never met this chick in my life. Not sure why she feels the need to gossip about me. But man, is it satisfying seeing this. Deuces, Tiara. A woman is in custody after reports of an active shooter at the Moonlight Bunny Ranch in northern Nevada. God, if anything happens involving a brothel, Russell's there in like seconds to give his opinion. I've rarely seen such an obsession. Anyway, let's get back into reading this thing. Last time I left off, right in the middle of Russell being stalked by his trolls, or maybe angry Swifties. We'll have to see. Out of the corner of my eye, the headlights turned back on and the car began to move forward towards me. I quickly left the sidewalk and began to cut across Murray Park, a public park that contained a vast expanse of trees and open field. My shoes plopped through the snow and my feet became cold, as I was only wearing leather dress shoes. Looking back, the car had stopped. Whoever it was watching me. Eventually I reached the other side of the park and began running on the sidewalk of another street, losing sight of the creepy car. As 5 a.m. rolled around again the next day, I armed myself with rocks, tucking them in my coat pocket. Nearing Murray Park in my jog, a loud beeping car noise approached in the distance. It was like somebody was holding down their car horn as they approached. Beep. I began to jog faster, but slipped on black ice, falling down. As my head hit the icy sidewalk, my glasses fell off. Bright lights sped down the street, horn blaring as the car approached me. Weakly, I picked up and put on my glasses, which were now impossible to see out of because the cold had fogged my lenses up. So I put my glasses in a coat pocket. Fearing for my life, since the car seemed to be headed right at me, and since this wasn't the first time this had happened, I pulled out my rock, which was more like a stone, and tossed it at the car. For all I know, someone in the car could have shot me. Though my eyesight was limited without my glasses, the stone smashed right into the windshield of the vehicle. All at once, the blaring of the horn stopped, and the car came to a halt. The driver began swearing at me, and then the car veered off the road and sped forward at me. I feel like if I saw Russell in the morning, dressed up for his office job, jogging through the snow, I'd probably think he was a crazy homeless guy. We had this guy in my town when I was a kid that they called the Watchman because he had like 10 watches on his arm. That might just be Russell's future at this rate. Making a mad dash across Murray Park, the car drove up over the sidewalk and chased after me. The wheels of the car slid and spun in the snow, allowing me to maintain a healthy lead as it stalked me. Eventually, I ran through a brick path entrance that had high walls that separated the park from the nearby neighborhood. Thankfully, the path was too narrow for the car to fit through. As I ran away, I could hear the creeper car on the other side of the walls, squealing its tires, stuck in the snow. Sensing that I had a death wish on me, I took Uber to work for many days after that incident. I felt all alone since the police and my family weren't supporting me. Was this how all truth speakers felt? I mean, if this did happen, which it didn't, Russell cost these people hundreds of dollars breaking their windshield and got away scot-free. Sitting in the cafe with Ken, we talked about the harassment that had been perpetrated against me. Russ, if the police aren't helping you, I don't know what to really say. Ken was at a loss for words. It's disgusting what these people are doing. And it's not just in Utah, I explained to my lawyer friend. Some of the people on that site live in different countries. When I came out about this, I was trying to push for social justice. I was trying to bring to light what a person who hides behind a mask did to me. A lot of people need to know about this. That's the thing about rhetoric. It's going to piss a few people off, Ken told me. There's a price when it comes to free speech, no matter how true it may be. It's still amazing to me that Russell thought he was the only one aware that Taylor Swift's public image is fake, like he's going to break some big story. Now remember that this is supposed to be non-fiction, as we read probably the most infamously fake part of the story. While Ken was speaking, I noticed a man taking pictures of us. The man quickly left. I stood up and dashed after the man. For weeks people had been putting videos and pictures of me on that troll site. I was going to put a stop to the harassment. By the time I got outside, the man had disappeared. Ken followed after me. "It was one of those Kiwi guys, Ken," I said with clenched teeth, upset. "How do they keep finding you?" Ken bewilderedly asked. "I have no idea," I responded, shaking with frustration. Around 9 p.m. that night, as Ken was finishing up work, a group of masked people confronted him in the underground parking lot of the building that he worked in. They held bottles of fluid in their hands. "You must be the law guy who's been giving legal advice to shitlips," one of the masked people shouted. Ken, familiar with the prior incidents involving my family, ran to his car and prepared to escape. As Ken started the car, he realized that his passenger window was down. Before Ken could roll the window up, one of the bottles of fluid was lit up with a match. It was a Molotov cocktail. The flaming bottle was then thrown into the car through the open window. Instantly, the bottle exploded, consuming Ken and his car with flames. Like cowards, the masked men scampered off. After 6 hours of surgery, Ken rested in the trauma ward of the hospital. Bandages and casts enveloped his entire body. I stood beside his wife, who held their young son. I felt terrible. I had finally realized the bounds of my rhetoric. Free speech isn't free. There are consequences that come with it. "This is all my fault, Ken," I sobbed. Ken shook his head, not wanting me to blame myself. "You got hurt for being my friend and for listening to me when nobody else would." I didn't know if the police would ever catch these people, but I did know that I had to win this trial. If I didn't win, everybody who got hurt because of my beliefs would have been hurt in vain. I could never forgive myself if that happened. With determination, I decided that it was time to go to the news. I follow way too much true crime to buy this. He's resting 6 hours later and not even doped to the gills on morphine? This guy, if he survived, would probably be in an induced coma. I guess Russ decided that he needed another victim to do this for, so it seems less selfish. But obviously this would have been in the news if it actually happened. December 7th, the eve of the Taylor Swift trial came. Passionately, I sent detailed emails to the 3 main news stations in Utah: KSL, ABC Channel 2, and Fox 13. In the emails, I thoroughly explained everything that has been already told in this book. I explained how the lawsuit originally started out as a way to bring attention to an unfair situation. I explained vicarious liability. I explained the sweat and effort that I had put into for Taylor Swift. I explained how much Taylor had meant to me. I explained my disability. I explained how Taylor slandered me. I explained the duties that Taylor owed me, with disclaimers, and explained the research that I found. Patiently, I waited for the news to broadcast this incredible true story. It would only be a matter of time until there would be swift backlash against Taylor Swift for what she did to a handicapped person. Or so I thought. And now it's time for another one of those scenes where Russell wasn't there, so you know for sure that he's making it up. As John Smith sat in his office, working on a legal document, he received a phone call. Casually, he hit the speaker button on his phone as he continued to type away. "Hello?" John answered. "Hi, Mr. Smith. This is Kevin from KSL TV. How are you?" Kevin said through the speakerphone. John Smith stopped typing. Hi, John replied. "How may I help you?" "Yeah, we were sent a tip by a Mr. Russell Greer about a trial with Kevin got cut off by John, as John quickly picked up the phone. "Listen here. Mr. Greer is mentally unhinged. Everything this man has claimed is false. Everything. Do not listen to or believe anything this man says. If you report this, my client and I will sue the bejesus out of your news station. Do I make myself clear?" John sternly lectured over the phone. After hanging up on KSL TV, John Smith quickly called up Taylor Swift's management team to inform them that the news was trying to cover the story. Taylor Swift does not want this being covered at all, Jay Shoddy's explained to John Smith. Do everything you can to quash the story. Yes, sir, John said, gritting his teeth. And so John Smith spent all of that day calling all the major news networks in Utah and across the country, talking to news directors and legal advisors, telling them about the frivolous crackpot that I supposedly was. I feel like he seems crazy enough just because he won't stop calling his small claims court case a trial. It's obviously not a trial. Despite John's best efforts to keep the truth quiet, though, Fox 13 News blasted the story on its 5 p.m. broadcast. Utah man sues Taylor Swift after agents stonewall efforts to make music with her, is what read on the site's breaking news headline. I became overjoyed. It was working. They're covering you, Ken called me from his hospital bed, but my heart stopped. The article completely trashed me and made me sound like a crazy person. The news had omitted key terms such as vicarious liability and didn't include the precedent found in celebrity misrepresentations with products. Instead, the article claimed that I sued Taylor Swift for her to go on a date with me. Regardless, the truth was out there, and there was nothing John Smith could do to stop it. The article had over 1,000 shares. It's out there now, so be on your A game. The world is watching, Ken cautioned. I'll be rooting for you. The next morning, on December 8th, the day of the trial, the United Kingdom's Daily Mail had picked up the story. Yeah, they picked up Lucas's story too. British tabloids love talking about American creeps, apparently. The title of their article was basically the same as Fox 13's. The Daily Mail claimed that I felt I was entitled to Taylor Swift's attention. It was absurd. Other sites and syndicates began to pick up the story. Upon seeing that the Daily Mail had picked up the story, thus making the story international news, John Smith became livid. He began cursing and swearing and throwing documents across the room. He grabbed his phone and frustratedly called Taylor Swift's agents. The agents and John conversed. "We've got something up our sleeves," Jay said as he thumbed through his contact book. He flipped through the many pages until he got to the label marker that had the letter B. Once on the B page, Jay slid his finger down until it reached the contact information for Big Machine Records, Taylor Swift's record label. The agents were going to make sure that this bad publicity for them was drowned out. For good. War had begun. I have no idea why Russell would think Greg Scortis or John Smith or whatever would care if his story got picked up at the Daily Mail. Everyone was just mocking him. And how could he say he doesn't feel entitled to her attention when he was explicitly going to sue her to get her attention? Chapter 7. Russell Greer vs. Taylor Swift, the small claims trial. "There he is," a woman gasped to her friends as she saw me on the track station. "That's the man who sued Taylor Swift." I was becoming more and more infamous by the second. Fox 13 had ran another video of me that morning, completely twisting my cause of action, which was no surprise to me. Just the mere fact that I was suing a celebrity was enough for people to think of me as weird and not focus on my side of the story or legal arguments. I was a tad bitter because the news did not reach out to me for comments. They had taken parts of what John Smith said and focused on Taylor's motion to dismiss, completely ignoring vital pieces of information. Thus, I looked like a baboon. As I sat on the train, people looked up from their phones and began staring at me. They had read the article that I was featured in. Politely, I nodded my head at the onlookers, acknowledging them. When I got to work, I made my way to my cubicle. Fellow coworkers slowly stood up and spied on me for the walls of their cubicles. Practically anybody who followed and watched the news knew of my lawsuit. The head honchos at my office walked past me, glaring at me. On my breaks, people in the break room were talking about the lawsuit and how dumb I was. When they saw me, though, they hushed each other up, making for awkward silence. I became the subject of water cooler talk. Not to be political, but if anything, this all showed that President Trump was right. The media is biased. The media will throw the most correct people under the bus in order to protect their darlings, e.g. Taylor Swift. To make for good and exciting news, the media doesn't look for facts. They only want sensationalism. Based upon all of this, I had to win at trial, or I would forever be known as frivolous, litigious, and crazy. Do you think Russell actually thinks the Daily Mail is a legitimate news organization? Or that Fox is? I guess he must. I think we're going to see Russell lose another job here soon, amazingly. On my lunch break, I went into a hipster diner to get a quick bite to eat. As I was waiting in line, two incredibly rude businessmen were standing behind me, talking crap on me. They knew who I was based on the news. "Look at how dumb he is," one of the businessmen rudely said. "I feel so sorry for him," the second man remarked to the other. I quickly turned around, trying to maintain my composure. "Why do you feel sorry for me?" I questioned intensely. "What?" the man said, misunderstanding me. "I asked you a question," I stated. "Why do you feel sorry for me?" "Because you're a moron," one of the businessmen said. Just as I was thinking on how to respond, a rude man put his phone in my face, filming me. Thinking that he was one of the Kiwi trolls, I grabbed his phone and began fighting him for it, ready to smash it. "What the hell are you doing?" the phone man protested. "I'm gonna smash that damn thing," I told him. "Why do you guys keep doing this?" Okay, I think I'm actually gonna cut it off here. This is surely the least believable video yet. But that is about all the time I have for you today. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you like the video, please give it a like. If you have something to say, make sure you say it in my comments. These don't get a lot of views, so I need to be reminded people are invested in seeing me finish. If you're new here, consider subscribing for more Russell and regular Reddit content. Big thanks finally to my awesome patrons who help by supporting me more directly over on Patreon. It really helps out. I'm not sure what I'm covering next, but I will be back soon. This is video number 6 this month, so pretty good for me. Have a great day, everyone, and remember that fame and infamy are not the same thing.